Well, guys, Brutus is back. In my truck. Well, I don't know if you could consider it my truck anymore. I think I'm out of it. I don't think I'm getting back in that truck. According to the boss man, that truck is gonna be overhauled. So I'm back in this truck, this Western Star 13 speed. I'm back in it. Can I drive a 13 speed? Well, you guys saw what happened last time. We're gonna try to prevent that from happening again. And this time I'm actually loaded, I'm carrying a load. Last time I wasn't. And so this might get interesting. I've been practicing a lot with it. I think a lot of the stuff that I was struggling with before was just the fact that it was so much different, felt so much different than the truck I've been in all along. But I've been practicing with her, trying to get better at shifting and stuff, get more comfortable, more used to it. Because it is a little bit different. It's not the shift pattern, it's just the feel of the shifter itself that is giving me issues, and the fact that the truck is just completely different than a Freightliner. I mean, this truck is big, it's got a long nose on it. This is the first time I've driven, you know, a truck with a long nose like that, long hood. It's a lot beefier, a lot bulkier than what I'm used to working with, so. But that doesn't mean I can't drive it. But I am gonna actually have to use this overdrive switch now that I'm loaded, which I haven't done yet. I have to go to the west side of Atlanta once again on 285, and then jump on what's called the east-west connector and head over to a Lowe's in Austell, Georgia. It's about an hour and a half away. But I had a lot of people mock me and make fun of me when I published that video of me trying to drive this thing the first time. So I'm about to publish this video and prove that it's doable. I can drive it. I have to drive it now. I don't have a choice. I don't have a truck anymore. Because if you guys saw my last video, you saw what the truck I've been in is doing, and so you know why I can't drive that truck anymore. I have improved quite a bit since the last time I tried to drive this truck. My skill level has improved. What's going on, man? What are you trying to do? Can I get around you at least before you do it? Nice Pete there. Everybody's waving at me. Everybody likes this truck, man. It is a pretty cool truck. It's hard to drive. It's a lot harder to drive than the trucks I've driven in my career of truck driving. Now this particular Lowe's that I'm headed to, I looked at it on Google Earth and it doesn't look very good. It doesn't look like it's going to be easy to get into, especially with this truck. These bigger trucks, they are harder to maneuver and they don't do as well in tighter spaces. I gotta make a left turn out of here. See, there we go. I can drive it. Not so bad. I actually had a chance to watch my boss drive it because my old truck, like I was saying, I've been struggling with it all month, right? Well, I broke down in northern Alabama a few weeks ago and he had to come and tow me back. He used this truck to tow me back. So I was riding with him on the way back and I watched him drive it. And I realized what I was doing wrong. I was trying to shift too fast. I mean, with the Freightliner shifters, they're straight. This one's got kind of a curve to it and it feels really rubbery to me. In fact, that's what I said in my last video. I was like, this shifter feels really rubbery. It just feels a lot different, you know. And well, because of that, you can't, like that with the Freightliner, I can just click it into gear and I get a little bit forceful with my hand. You know what I'm saying? It's just a habit. Can't do that with this truck. You gotta be slow and smooth. You can't jerk the shifter. Guys, this is literally my first time driving it hooked up to a loaded trailer. You guys are witnessing it. So to all the people that talked all that crap to me, I just want to say, in your face! No, but seriously, this is a lot harder than you would think. If you've never seen anybody drive one, you know, and you're just getting into a truck, it's pretty difficult. The speedometer's off in this truck too, which makes it a little bit harder to know when to downshift and stuff like that. This auxiliary switch right here, it's so much different. You know, it's just this extra thing that you got to remember to do. I'm assuming we got a red light up here, so I'm assuming I'm gonna click up on the auxiliary, take it out of gear, and then put it to the next lowest gear. Come down a little bit on the RPM. Hit the throttle a little bit. All right, now we're in the lower gear on the low side of the lower gear. watch this pedestrian crosswalk up here. Yeah, I'm still grinding them. Not too bad though. Not anything like the last time, right? Truck sounds really good. I like the way it sounds. It's a cool truck. All right, I gotta slow down for this turn. Oh, well, might as well wait now. And we're stalled. I'm gonna put it in low. There we go. That's the first time I've stalled it. It's kind of got the same kind of issue as that Freightliner, where in the beginning, when I was stopped and I was trying to put it in second gear, I would accidentally shift it into fourth gear. So it kind of has that issue where when you push straight up on the shifter, it'll kind of sometimes go that way into the gear to the right of it. You know what I'm saying? And when you put it in that other gear, it'll stall when you're first starting out. To prevent that, sometimes I'll put it in low to start out. Try getting on the interstate. Got to remember what I'm hauling. Too bad. Now this truck, I feel that I'm going to be more apt to use my engine brake when I'm slowing down, especially on the interstate. I'm going to be more apt to use it. Okay, so it's going to get interesting up here as I make my way up to 285. Gonna get interesting. This traffic's gonna slow down up here. This is like having to learn how to drive a truck all over again. You know what I'm saying? In some ways it is. Like, this is a lot more work. Like, it requires a lot more finesse, I guess would be the right way to put it. you have to respect these machines. Like, the more manually operatable they are, the more you have to respect them. All the new trucks, they're all automatics, and just, it ain't nothing to drive a new truck. It seemed like it was easier to downshift with the engine brake on. Like, it just went right into gear when I had the engine brake on. But this auxiliary pre-selector thing, it's kind of cool because, like, I'm anticipating having to slow down on the interchange. So I can go ahead and pre-select from overdrive to that lower side before I get to the point where I need to slow down. So I can kind of set it up for what I know I'm gonna have to do. Like, I'm about to have to downshift to the next gear down. I'm not calling the gears by numbers because somebody told me, oh, you're focusing too much on the numbers, the gear numbers. Technically it'll be 6th gear, but there we go. Might need to go to the next gear down, actually. Fifth gear. Messed that up. Okay, this part of 285 you got to be careful because the interchange for 85, I just got off of 75, right? With the interchange for 85 is not far. And what traffic likes to do is use the center lane to cut in line for the exit lane. So they'll get out in that center line. I know you guys know what I'm talking about. They'll get out there in that center lane, ride it out as long as they can to cut in line, and then they'll end up slamming on their brakes to get over at the last second. So I really want to be in that lane to the left of me, but I'm gonna have to pick up some speed before I do it. Yeah, they're already starting to do it right now. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get over or not. See all the brake lights? I'm gonna get over. This is right by the airport. Runway's actually right above us right now. There's so much going on. I gotta flip this and flip that. It's very tedious driving this truck, man. Very tedious. It's a new experience for sure. Definitely a new experience. This is where they'll do it too, like right here. This truck doesn't have hood mirrors on it either, which I gotta be careful about my blind spots down there. Okay, so I gotta go 11 miles up to the exit for 78 Hallowell Parkway. Talking a lot in this video is because I'm trying to focus on what I'm doing. This is such a new experience. I don't want to mess up. I changed my mind. I'm actually gonna take 20 to Thornton Road and then go up Thornton Road, because that'll prevent me having to make a left turn to get into the shopping center. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna have to downshift again as I come onto this interchange, or actually before I get onto the interchange, I'm gonna have to downshift. This interchange because you got traffic on the oncoming side merging on, and you have to leave them room to get over. Alright, that didn't work good. That didn't work so well. But I guess as long as the traffic's not moving at all, you just... You don't have to worry about it as much. You see what I mean though? Like that lane ends and you got all this traffic coming from the other side. They have to get into this lane. Try that again. There we go. It went into gear, but the clutch slipped, so it wasn't really in gear. This is an exit only lane, but what I normally like to do is wait till I get to the top of this hill to get over. That way I pick up a little bit of speed before I just get out there into that open lane. I looked at this place again on Google Earth and it just doesn't look good, guys. I've got two different options. If I go around counterclockwise, I'll be facing the right direction for the docks, even though I'm not going to back up to a dock. I'll be facing the right direction, but it doesn't look like it doesn't look good. If I should choose to go that way, it doesn't look extremely promising, because if I do that, I'm gonna have to drive across and behind the whole shopping center, like on the backside of all the buildings, because if you come in on the counterclockwise side, Lowe's is on the opposite end. But if I went in on the clockwise side, I have to go through part of the front parking lot to do it. And I'm looking at some of these turns and they look extremely narrow. So if I come in counterclockwise, there's a risk that I might get stuck back there behind those buildings, because there might be something blocking the path. If I come in on the clockwise side, I might get stuck in the front parking lot and not have enough room to make a couple of turns that I need to make to get to the docks. So I don't know what to do. Rationally, I'm thinking I'm gonna try to just risk it and go in on the counterclockwise side and try to drive behind all those buildings. But if there's a dumpster or something in my freaking way, I'm gonna be in trouble. I'm gonna have to back all the way out. But I'd rather back out of an alley than to have to back up in a busy ass parking lot, you know what I'm saying? So I think that's what I'm gonna do. And I'm coming in, now that I'm taking 20 to get over here, I'm coming in from the right direction to easily do that instead. I haven't completely made my mind up yet, but that's what I'm thinking I'm gonna do. Here's the exit for Thornton Road, Austell. to get over as soon as possible. Check out that tank. That's cool. Okay, I gotta turn right here. It's right around the corner from here. Here's the shopping center right here. It's down there. And this is where I was saying I think I might want to freaking turn in right here. Like, seriously. I'm thinking about it. I might just do it. Because it might be the best choice, you know. And if I get stuck over there on that other side, that's going to be really bad. It's going to be really bad. I mean, it looks pretty wide right here. It looks like it would be feasible. So I'm just gonna give it a go and give it a shot. I mean, if anything, Target's over here, you know, these big stores that have docks, you know, they're all over here. And there's other trucks back here, but it gets kind of narrow once you get past some of these other stores. But if I do make it all the way across, when I come across, I'm gonna be facing the right direction. Because unlike like Target right there, those docks were facing that way. These docks are facing this way. This is pretty wide. Okay. This looks pretty good so far. Okay, we're over here at Lowe's now. We gotta swing it to the right and just hope they don't have anything blocked off right here. Surely to goodness they wouldn't, but you never know. People are staring at me. Okay, their receiving door is right here, so I'm gonna get out and find out where they want me to be. All right, in a bit. Well, guys, what do you think? I did it. It wasn't exactly the prettiest thing, but I pulled it off. You think I can drive one of these? You think I'm cut out for it? It's gonna take some practice for me to master it, for sure. Does this mean I'm a real truck driver now? Oh, crap, I forgot. I don't have a CB, so no, I'm still not a real truck driver. Not till I get a CB, right? See, this is the way that I was planning on coming in originally, but I didn't know if this little road right here was wide enough. I didn't know if I'd fit underneath those trees. Till I got here, I wouldn't know. I have to make a sharp right turn. And this is that east-west connector road I was talking about. I just came in a different way, changed my mind about how to get here. Gotta go pick up another load now from Scott's. I actually realized after I got here that I don't even need to use that splitter. These loads with the Scott stuff, they're not even heavy enough for me to have to use that auxiliary splitter between the regular and the overdrive on the top side, which is what makes it a 13 speed. Don't even have to use those extra gears with these loads. All right, go into gear. Thank you. It's not too bad. It's just different. I don't know what my problem was that day. I don't know why I couldn't get it. Why I couldn't figure it out. It's not that hard. When you're not using the splitter, it's not that hard to do. It's really not. There is a different gear ratio, so you do have to shift at a different point when you're matching your RPMs and all that stuff. It's different than that Columbia I've been driving. But I mean, you just have to be used to and comfortable with shifting, I guess, to understand the right way to do it. And at that point, like the first time I drove this truck, I'd only been driving that 10 speed for not that long. Oh shit. clutch is temperamental too, just like it is in my old truck. Sometimes you can get away with starting in like third gear, and sometimes you can't. Actually, it would be second gear on this truck. I am just hauling an empty flatbed now, so that's why I tried that. I mean, it worked earlier. I just got to get the timing right with the downshifts and figure out how to stop grinding like that. You know what I'm saying? That's first gear, and it's like struggling. See, it's like sputtering and stuff. He did say that the engine in this truck, there is something wrong with it, that it'll sputter on you and stall real easily. So that's probably got something to do with it, if it's not the clutch. I mean, I am floating the gears. That's how I've been driving this whole time. I'll float up and down. I think I need to be using the clutch though when I'm downshifting in this truck. But the clutch is so weird in this truck. I don't like it. It just feels so different from what I'm used to, you know? It doesn't have nearly as much travel in it. As far as shifting with the RPMs and everything, I'm shifting up and down in between that, or actually just outside of that 10-15 window. Maybe a little when I'm downshifting, I'll start to shift down as soon as I get right up above 1,000 RPMs, and then I'll shift up at like 1,600 RPMs. It's different in that Columbia. I already explained it to you a long time ago, but with that truck, you shift at a much higher RPM than you do in most trucks. This truck's definitely got a lot of character though. But this truck is definitely harder to bring to a stop than that Columbia, no question, no doubt about it. I can't drive it like I drove that Columbia. I was used to throwing that thing around, and you know, I don't mean that literally, but I'm just saying, like, I was comfortable, you know, scooting through in that thing, and I'm not in this at all.
Well guys, I've been driving this truck for a few days now, and I can honestly say that it's been fine. Considering my first experience with it, as I was apprehensive, to say the least, about getting back in and attempting to drive it once again. But after taking more time to get the feel for it, I can notice the differences in what it takes to drive this truck compared to what it took to drive the Columbia. It's nice to try something different from time to time, however. It's a little hard to explain these subtle differences, but if I could put it into words, I would have to say that everything is different. It's the same concept, but with small changes to everything you're doing while driving. When added all up, it becomes a big deal to change trucks that are so different in nature. First of all, the steering wheel in this Western Star is starkly different from that in the Freightliner. It's bigger and yet thinner. It also has a lot more play in it and is extremely vague in this particular truck. So I'm finding it more difficult to use more travel in my wrist to do simple things like keeping the truck in my lane while driving. Secondly, the throttle in this truck is much more sensitive and requires far less pressure to rev up for a downshift. If you're not aware of this, you can easily miss the gear that you're shifting down to by over revving. In fact, all 3 pedals in this truck are much less extensive in their travel. This makes the throttle more sensitive and the service brake becomes less intuitive to apply pressure. In the Freightliner, I could sense how much pressure I needed to apply in any given situation, whereas in this truck, it feels like it's just there to stomp on if needed. There is, however, a gauge in this truck that will show you how much pressure you're applying to the brake pedal, which helps. At the same time, it becomes an extra step in the already tedious list of repetitive tasks which must be undergone while driving. The same principle of limited travel applies to the clutch pedal in this truck. The clutch, while extremely heavy, is also very limited in its movement. And in this particular truck, I'm assuming that it's worn out and could use a replacement. It seems as if the catch point is only just below the full extension that the clutch stays at while not being applied. And because of this, you must disengage it very slowly and carefully, or the truck will inevitably stall, regardless of what gear you're starting out in. And finally, I come to the shifter. I already explained how it differs from every other truck I've ever driven. I'm used to straight and rigid shifters that click into position and the familiar precise movement of travel throughout the shift pattern of a 10-speed. With the shifter in the Western Star, I found anything but familiarity. It seems like you can move this thing in any direction, and instead of clicking into gear, you sort of have to push your way through the gears. The resistance that you feel in your wrist while shifting feels more like pushing against rubber. The shift pattern itself, again, I really didn't struggle with very much. And after driving a 13, I can honestly say that I prefer this pattern over a 10-speed pattern. Anyway, I could go on and on about all these contrasts between the two trucks. The lack of hood mirrors in this truck is definitely a big difference, especially considering how small the windows are compared to the open nature of a Freightliner. I found myself very hesitant to make lane changes on the interstate due to this. There's also the noticeably recognizable sensation of the extra weight from this truck compared to the smaller Freightliner, and the added body roll of the cab when taking turns and corners. To spare you from over-explanation, I'll just sum it up to this. The Freightliners are more agile and easier to maneuver, but these bigger, heavier trucks pack a lot more punch in the torque department. They are also, however, much more difficult to bring to a stop. They demand more precision, more focus, more respect, and greater technique and skill to operate. This is why these bigger trucks are considered the epitome of what trucking is. I've only been driving this truck for a few days, and I can already notice a difference in the way traffic around me responds to me while I'm driving this truck. I'm being given more space and more respect by the traffic in my vicinity. even by other trucks. Less people are pulling out in front of me, cutting me off, and refusing to move over when I'm behind them. And I must say, I'm enjoying and appreciating it. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.